white people should commit suicide as an ethical act.
White people should commit suicide. Professor Derek Hook is on record as having agreed with another professor who said that it might be a good idea if white people committed suicide. And he's one of these critical race theory guys who would quite like to see the end of white people. Not literally. What these professors are actually talking about is a symbolic extinction and an end of whiteness in the form of an identity, and people would no longer be labelled as white if they chose no longer to identify as white. And he mentioned how white people in Africa could become African.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
This idea of moving away from labels and no longer calling people white might be a good idea. It sounds rather reminiscent of the statement that Morgan Freeman made.
I'm going to stop calling you a white man. Yeah. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
That does make a lot of sense. But the people that go on and on about race more than anyone else, and who reinforce the idea that there is such a thing as white people and such a concept, are these critical race theory professor types who are always banging on about white privilege and people of colour and separating people into these different groups, often just the two groups right down the middle, either white or a person of colour. As you and I know, life isn't that simple, race is not that simple, and if you go back far enough, we are all mixed race to an extent. All the races are related and we all go back to mitochondrial Eve. So it is all a social construct, but that construct is being reinforced by the critical race theory advocates. And if we all just stopped talking about race, maybe white people would disappear, as would black people, as would every other racial category, as we began to acknowledge each other for who we really are. And we might appreciate the many multiple layers to our identity, which might be our race or ethnicity, our nationality, our religion, our culture, our language, and we could stop making everything about race.